We're back now with the latest on the 2024 presidential campaign. Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis is set to have his first official campaign event in Des Moines, Iowa later today.
Comes just days after DeSantis kicked off his campaign on Twitter with Elon Musk.
NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us now from Des Moines with the details. Dasha, good morning. Let's start with what we can expect to see from today's event. They're calling it a campaign kickoff instead of a traditional launch. Is there a difference?
Hey guys, good morning. Well, look, the official launch happened on the internet. You saw it on Twitter Spaces, or you heard it at least, with Elon Musk. So that was the official launch of the campaign. Now, this is when the game really begins. This is, I think, the third time I'm talking to you guys from Des Moines, Iowa, about a DeSantis event, but this is the first time that he is an actual presidential candidate. So now the pressure is on. Now he has to prove himself in the very important retail politics that is so critical to voters here in Iowa and in the other states he'll be visiting next week, New Hampshire and South Carolina. These are the early states that can make or break a presidential candidacy. Of course, they are not kingmakers, but they can really build that momentum and show voters whether or not somebody really has legs in these races. And so this is going to be an important moment for him on the ground as a presidential candidate, looking voters in the eyes and making his case now as a candidate, guys.
So, Dasha, this comes after the glitchy Twitter announcement alongside Elon Musk. Any indication that hurt DeSantis at all?
Well, look, you saw both President Biden and former President Trump sort of memifying that moment and using it to their own advantage. The DeSantis team, though, saying that they broke the internet and using that to sort of propel their message that he has a lot of enthusiasm behind him. So a bit of a Rorschach test. If you're a fan of DeSantis, he broke the internet. If you're not, it was a failure. But meanwhile, the campaign itself is moving forward with the message that he is the alternative to the former president, that he is the guy who can beat Joe Biden. You heard him talking about that just over the last few days, and that he can serve 2 terms, which is something that the former president cannot do. And I think that's something that you're going to hear a lot on the campaign trail as part of the case that he's making for why he is the guy to elect.
DeSantis is speaking out about why he is choosing to run for president in 2024. He had this to say on Fox News.
Why is right now the time for Ron DeSantis to run for president?
Because everyone knows if I'm the nominee, I will beat Biden and I will serve 2 terms, and I will be able to destroy leftism in this country and leave woke ideology on the dustbin of history.
Recent polling shows DeSantis is still trailing former President Trump by a considerable amount. So, Dasha, how does he plan to differentiate himself during this early campaign tour? And can we expect to see him touting his recent legislation that was passed in Florida?
Yeah, well, look, I think what you just heard from him there is going to be a big part of the case he's making here in Iowa and beyond. But, yeah, his policies in Florida, the massive amount of legislation that he just passed, that is going to be critical. He's going to make the case that he is not just talk, but action. He does have policy platforms to stand on, so he will be absolutely touting those. That was a big part of his strategy to announce after legislative session was over, so that he would be able to point to some of those victories in Florida and say, hey, look at what we got done, and that's what I'll be able to do nationwide as well. The thing that I'm going to be watching for, though, is how does he walk that line when it comes to former President Trump? He's got to find his footing really quickly here. How directly is he going to go after him, or is he going to do that sort of subtle, jab without actually naming him? What is going to be his tack when it comes to going after the former president? That's going to be really critical, as a lot of people have a whole lot of opinions on how he should handle that, and excuse the early morning to morning traffic here. But look, that's going to be important, and that is going to be a big part of creating the sort of permission structure for voters who are maybe looking for an alternative to former President Trump but aren't ready to jump just yet. They need to see evidence that whatever alternative they pick actually has a path forward. They need to prove that to those voters now so that they can jump and, by the way, look to their friends and say, oh, hey, the water's fine. Come on in. We can do this, and we can go hitch our bandwagon to another candidate here.
All right, Dasha Burns in Iowa, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.